Hey guys, so I get questions all the time on my Twitter, on my Facebook, asking me, hey, do you have any tips for transitioners, requests to do a video like this? So it took some time, but I finally got a chance to, do this video for you guys. So these are my quick top 10 tips for transitioning to natural hair from relax. So my first tip is that you don't have to do the BC, which is the big chop where you chop off all of your relaxed hair in order to transition. You can transition without the BC just by letting your natural hair grow out, not getting any more relaxers, and you're transitioning. You don't necessarily have to go, balls to the walls and just chop all your hair off. It doesn't have to be that drastic. If you're not the type of person who likes having short hair like that, then don't do it. Let your hair grow. There are pros and cons to the BC. Well, the first pro is that you can start fresh with your natural hair. You don't have to worry about dealing with two textures as it grows out. It's going to be really difficult to deal with, your thicker natural hair texture and your thinner relaxed hair texture, which is going to be a lot weaker as well. So it's easier if you BC just to get rid of that relaxed hair altogether. Also, as your natural hair grows in, it's going to be, you're going to be able to learn how to do your hair while it's short, so that when it grows longer, you've already mastered your hair. Because say you let your hair grow out and then you decide to chop it when your natural hair is like down to your chest, it's going to be a lot more difficult for you to figure out how to work with your texture with it being so long than if you had just started with the short hair to begin with. So those are the pros. The cons of the BC is that maybe you're not comfortable with short hair. It could be a little awkward. But I think that's the only con, if you're not comfortable. So if you're going to BC, make sure that you're comfortable with it. Make sure you're accepting the fact that you're going to have short hair. When you first BC, it can be weird. For me, it was weird. Very, very, very weird. And I wasn't very comfortable. It took me about 2 weeks to get comfortable with it. And then I was like, I'm fine. There will be like a transition period where you're feeling like weird about it, but don't worry. It'll pass and you'll get used to your hair. So second tip, what are the ways that you can transition besides the BC? Well, you have the BC. You can let your hair grow out from its natural state. You don't have to cut it off. You can put your hair, which is what I did, into extensions. So I had braided extensions. They were medium-sized braids, almost like box braids. You can put them into braided extensions, twisted extensions, and what that does is I really like that because I didn't have to play with my hair all the time. I wasn't ready for the BC. I didn't want to chop off my relaxed hair yet, so this was the perfect solution. I could put it into my braided extensions. I had a really, really cute style. I could, make it longer if I wanted, make it shorter if I wanted, and I didn't have to worry about combing out my natural and my relaxed hair every day to style it, which meant that it was a lot less stress on my hair and it was able to grow out without all that pulling and tugging and breakage. Eventually I did end up cutting off my relaxed hair, but that's a whole nother story. Another way would be wigs, but if you're gonna wear the wig, just make sure that your hair underneath is moisturized. Don't braid it too tight. You don't want it to have too much stress on it. Make sure you're caring for it. You're not just leaving it in a wig for 4 weeks. You know what I mean? One more way to transition would be weaves. I don't really recommend them compared to the other methods of transitioning, just because I feel like with weaves, your hair is braided really small, really tightly, and it's just a lot of stress on your hair. But it is a way that transition, it is an option. But third tip, treat transitioning hair gently. There's going to be a point where the relaxed hair meets the natural hair, and it's just going to be, that's the breakage point. So if you don't treat your hair gently, that's where the relaxed hair is going to break off from your natural hair, and you're going to get tons of breakage, which is not always a bad thing. Actually, it actually happened to me. It's not a bad thing. You just get rid of your relaxed hair maybe sooner than you wanted to. But if you're really trying to transition long term and keep your relaxed hair, treat it very gently. Tip number 4, moisturizing your hair. With natural hair, I say moisturize daily. With transitioning hair, I say moisturize weekly. When your hair is 100% natural, our hair is very dry, it's very thirsty, and it needs moisture, water to grow. When you're transitioning, you're going to have relaxed hair in there too. So relaxed hair, you can't take as much moisture as your natural hair can. In fact, it can get waterlogged, and if you have too much moisture, it can break off. So because of the fact that your relaxed hair can get waterlogged really easily, you want to be wary of that. If you're transitioning long term, you don't want that hair to break off. So just moisturize your hair weekly. I say maybe every time you wash your hair, do a deep condition, seal it in with whatever products you use while it's wet, and that'll be good for the week. If you need to, you know, say your natural hair at your roots are getting a little dry, maybe oil your scalp a little bit. But you don't want to be spritzing your hair with water every day if you're transitioning. You don't want your hair to break off. And I also get a lot of inquiries of women who are confused about their curl pattern. They can't figure out what their curl pattern is. And I want to just say, so you won't be able to figure out what your curl pattern is until all of your relaxed hair is removed and you have at least 3 inches of growth. Now that's because when you have relaxed hair attached to your natural hair, it's added weight to your hair. It's pulling your hair down. Your curls aren't able to do what they want to do freely. So you really have to make sure that that relaxed hair is chopped off and that you have at least 3 inches of hair so that your curl pattern has enough room to actually coil and do what it wants to do. That way you can really determine what your hair type is. Now if you go to Google, you can type in curly hair types and you're going to get tons of information of different hair types for curly hair and how to determine it and all that kind of stuff. So just, you know, give it a little bit of time for your hair to grow out and make sure that your relaxed hair is chopped off first. Another popular question that I get is, what products did you use while you were transitioning? You know, I have a video of the products I use now that I'm natural, but what products did you use while you were transitioning? And I always tell people, when you're transitioning and when you're newly natural, just use the same exact products you're using when you have relaxed hair. And you're like, why? Because when you're transitioning and when you're newly natural, it's all new to you. The transition is going to be a challenge. The dealing with your new natural hair is going to be a little bit of a challenge. You don't need to add this added stress of figuring out, ooh, is this product good? Is this product good? No, just use whatever you've been using before, whatever you're comfortable with, so that you at least have something that's constant in your regimen. Now, once you figure out how to work with your hair, then start playing around with the products. Then start testing out different things to see how it affects your hair and if you like that or not. Because if you're playing around with products in the beginning and trying to figure out how to do your hair, it's too much. It's just way too much. You don't know if you're doing the right thing because of how you're playing with your hair. You don't know if it's the product. So just stick with what you know until you master your hair with that product, and then move on to other things. And I just say that because you want to make sure that you're having fun. You don't want this to be a stressful time. You want to enjoy your hair. You want to enjoy figuring out how to play with it. And if you just add too many new things to the bunch all at once, it's going to be overwhelming. And, you know, you're going to feel like it's a lot harder than it actually is. And you might give up. And you just don't need that because of some new product that you're trying, you know? So keep it simple. Number 7 is research as many naturals as possible, even if they don't have your hair type. When I started going natural, I researched everyone. Like, I researched people from, you know, very loose curly hair to very tight curly hair. And I just wanted to know what they were using, because you'll start to see some common denominators in all of their tips. And you'll figure out, okay, well, this seems to be working for everybody. Let me start with that. And, you know, some things that'll work for someone with looser hair won't work for someone with, you know, tighter hair. But just knowing what works for the woman with the looser hair and what works for the woman with the tighter hair will help you along when you're figuring out how to do your own hair. For example, through watching videos of women with different hair textures, I found out that women with looser hair, they like to use lighter hair products. Women with tighter, coarser hair like to use heavier hair products. Now, when you're figuring out where your hair falls and all that, maybe you figure out, okay, well, my hair is really not that tight, it's really not that loose though, so maybe I want to work with something that's a little bit not too light but not too heavy too. So that will give you hints on where to start once you start playing with products and etc. So, you know, knowledge is power. Research as many naturals as you can, even if they don't have your hair type. It's just getting to really figure out what works for natural hair in general. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I'm like so out of breath right now. I'm exhausted. When you're pregnant, you can't do this so easily. So if I'm breathing really hard, I'm sorry. But it's because I'm standing up and you can't really stand for this long of a period of time. Oh snap. I never knew talking to a camera would be such a workout. So ridiculous. My 8th tip is focus on healthy hair, not long hair. You know, I can't tell you how many women tell me, I'm getting frustrated, my hair is not growing fast enough, I'm about to go back to a relaxer, and it's like, is your hair healthy? Focus on that. You're not gonna see length when you go natural right away. It's gonna take maybe a year and a half, 2 years, depending on how tightly curled your hair is, to see length. The tighter your hair is, the tighter your curl, the longer it's gonna take to see your length. I've been natural for almost 4 years now, and my hair, when curly, still is up to here. So if you determine your natural hair journey on your length, you're gonna be very frustrated. You might give up more easily, and it's just not gonna be a positive experience for you. So focus on healthy hair and not long hair. My 9th tip is find the beauty in your own curls. Now, I hear so many times women talking about curl envy. Just give it some time. Figure out how to work with your curls. Figure out how to define your curls, and I swear you're gonna love your hair for how it looks with your own curl pattern. Everyone's curl pattern is different. I have yet to see a natural, like 2 naturals with the same curl pattern. So just go into it ready, with an open mind, ready to work with whatever curl pattern you have, because I guarantee you, you're gonna, no matter whether how loose or how tight your hair is, whether your hair holds a curl or not, there's always a way to work with your hair and figure out, how your hair looks best, what styles look best with your hair. And my last tip is just enjoy the ride. Don't go into it expecting instant gratification, because 95% of the time that doesn't happen. It's very rare that someone goes into it, chopping all the hair off and like, yeah, I'm natural, whoa. No, you know what I mean? A lot of times you go into it and you're transitioning, you're like, oh my god, this new growth feels awkward, or you chopped all your hair off and you're like, whoa, where's my hair? Just go into it expecting that awkward stage, because you will have it. You will have that awkward stage no matter what. There's very few people who are happy with their hair 100% of the time when they start to go natural. It takes some time to learn how to work with your texture. It takes some time to be comfortable with the new way that you look. If you're used to yourself looking one way your whole life, it takes some time to get used to that new look that you're gonna have. So go into it expecting an awkward stage. Go into it realizing that all of that will subside, and eventually you're going to master your hair and you're going to be comfortable in your skin, and it's just such a rewarding experience. So I don't want to sugarcoat it and be like, oh, it's all peaches and creams all the time when you go natural. Hey, you know what I mean? No. I had 2 weeks where I was awkward and I felt embarrassed because I wasn't used to it, and that happens, and that's okay. But that, you don't have to run from that. You don't have to say, oh, because I feel awkward, I'm gonna, relax my hair again. It's just a part of the process, and it happens, and it makes you stronger. So go through it, enjoy the ride. It's gonna happen, and you'll be happier for it. So those are my top 10 tips for transitioners. If anybody has any tips that I might have left out, please leave them in the comments below, because there will be transitioners watching this. The more tips, the better. So I really hope this helps, guys. I am out of breath and exhausted now, but I'm happy that I was able to put these tips together for you guys finally in a video. I know you guys have been asking, and I'm, sorry it took so long. I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.